President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are expected to meet later today with members of the Congressional Black Caucus to discuss the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
There is a renewed call to pass legislation following the death of Tyre Nichols, who died 3 days after being beaten by Memphis police officers last month. CBS 4's Nicole D'Antonio reports from the White House.
At the National Prayer Breakfast Thursday, President Biden referenced Tyre Nichols and his family.
Justice is long overdue.
Wednesday in Memphis, Vice President Kamala Harris made an impassioned plea at Nichols' funeral for restarting negotiations on federal police reform. Congress started work on a bill after the death of George Floyd in police custody, but it's been stalled for a year and a half.
We demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it.
The legislation aimed to, among other things, limit unnecessary use of force, restrict the use of no-knock warrants and chokeholds, and limit qualified immunity, which shields officers from many potential civil lawsuits. That last measure met resistance from Senate Republicans.
The president and vice president are meeting this afternoon with the Congressional Black Caucus to figure out how to make progress on the bill. But with Republicans now controlling the House, the legislation faces a steep uphill climb.
I don't know that there's any law that can stop that evil that we saw.
With the Floyd bill stuck, President Biden signed an executive order on police reform for federal law enforcement last May, and more executive action may be on the table. But the White House concedes there is no substitute for federal legislation. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And Tyre Nichols' parents will attend President Joe Biden's State of the Union address next week as guests of the Congressional Black Caucus.